How did you become such a YouTube sensation?
Ali Law.
Ali Law's
difficult and dangerous parkour.
Parkour and free running group.
These things called overnight challenges.
Okay.
Swimming complex,
Yeah.
trampoline parks, cinemas, shopping centres, everything. And that was the most that's what blew me up on YouTube differently.
It's a video that's getting an awful lot of attention on the internet.
We were in Paris climbing on the tallest building. Next minute, whole road gets closed off by the army. I just see an MP5 pointing straight in my face. I was like, oh, we f***ed it bad. We snuck into the Big Brother house twice. Once we were in, there was no way getting back out. 10 to 15 security guards just come flying out this door. I'm like, oh.
How many times do you reckon you've been arrested?
50 plus times.
You're joking
I'd say.
me.
Yeah.
Ali, welcome to the show, mate.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Yeah, very much looking forward to this one. I've seen all sorts about you on YouTube, so let's roll all the way back. Where did you grow up, and how did you become such a YouTube sensation?
So, taking it back, it's quite a long story, but I'll try and shorten it. But when I was 15, I was like really overweight, addicted to a computer game, didn't go to school for like 2 years, and then sort of got my life on track. Done the last year in school, was still very overweight, didn't know what I wanted to do in my life, and there was two options. My mum was like, you go to college or you get an apprenticeship like my brother did, which was a carpentry apprenticeship. That was the only options. I hated school, so I didn't want to go to college. So I went through this like carpentry apprenticeship, and then through that I met a guy that was doing like freestyle gymnastics, parkour stuff, and then started doing that through doing the carpentry apprenticeship, and then started doing that like every week. And then from there, that led to slowly, like I was doing parkour for many years.
So for the listener, just break down parkour.
Parkour was like gymnastics outdoors, like jumping across walls and doing flips, that style of stuff, you know. And then that led to doing that for many years. That led to like, we just done everything on the ground level. I used to be terrified of heights. And then that led to me doing, like, I wanted to overcome my fear of heights. So I started doing like the jumps. I sort of got to know my body so well, like I'd doing it for years and really knew my body and knew my limits of how far I could jump, and then wanted to overcome the fear of heights. Had like mates that would jump across the roofs and stuff, but I could never do it. So I started on like small little garage blocks, would jump across them, and then worked up and just like overcome my fear of heights.
So is that, so when you say parkour, is that when you're climbing up buildings and jumping from one building over to the next building?
So parkour, like
from France, isn't it? Paris.
It originated from France, yeah. And that guy, I can't remember his name, Sebastian Foucault.
Yeah.
So jumping across buildings, that in James Bond.
Yeah.
But yeah, originally like it was just ground level, a lot of ground level stuff. Obviously, you see the rooftop stuff, but these boys that are jumping across roofs have been training many years.
Yeah.
But that's how I started. So I did that for quite a few years, and then.
And where was that?
Southampton.
In Southampton. Okay.
All in Southampton.
Yeah.
So yeah, just many years.
So you did that for a few years, and then what was your next movement from there?
So the next movement from there, started making YouTube videos, like stemming from the carpentry apprenticeship. That was the only route I really had, was doing carpentry, and I hated it. I worked on site, worked with these old boys that were always complaining about their body, like being fucked, and just didn't want to go down that route. So I was like, how can I loved parkour at the time. I absolutely loved parkour. And I was like, how can I make money from this? And the only real viable route was YouTube, making videos. That was the only way that I could see making money from that. Like, people weren't making money from doing it. Like, there was no real money in doing competitions or anything in that. So YouTube was the only way. Started making YouTube videos, really enjoyed the process. Like, really enjoyed, it was two passion things together. It's like, I really enjoyed making videos and editing videos, and I really enjoyed parkour as well.
Quality.
So
What year are we talking here?
2014, I launched my first video December 2014.
Okay.
So many years ago now. But that was like, I'd upload like once every couple of months at that point. Still didn't quite know what I wanted to do. But yeah, that's how I started originally.
What gave you the idea? What was it for you when you went, oh, I need to get on YouTube? Because you've obviously jumped on this a lot earlier than most people.
I've watched YouTube. I actually had a gaming channel in like 2011. So when I was, 2010 maybe it was.
Yeah.
So early YouTube days. I think YouTube originated like 2006 maybe. 2010, had some gaming channel. I always watched YouTube growing up. Back then it was like, it wasn't as common. Obviously now if you say, like, you got kids saying I want to be a YouTuber, parents are like, you see all these YouTubers driving around in Lamborghinis.
Yeah,
go for it. Back then, like, when I told my mum, oh, I'm going to do YouTube, it was like, no one understood it.
Yeah.
I was telling them, I don't know, I just watched YouTube growing up and I knew it was a thing. I knew nothing about it, but I knew you could make money from it, and I knew there was potentially a way. And I was in this mindset, I was like, I'm going to make it work. I don't know how, but it's going to work somehow. And I just kept grafting at it, and it took many years before I didn't actually earn any money, real money, till about 2018. So it took a good 4 years of grafting before I got.
So were you just
from
banging up? Were you just banging up as many videos as you could of you jumping around?
Nah,
like
back then it was quite rare because
Okay.
it was like I was trying to make like real good edits. Obviously, I was learning YouTube. I wasn't just uploading loads, but when it started picking up was like around 2017 when I realised you had to be consistent. You had to upload more. I changed up the content. I was changing, doing a few different things, and that's when. So in 2017, I was like. So I went from parkour to climbing buildings. That sort of stemmed off the back of parkour.
Yeah.
And then through that, I met some boys and we did like these things called overnight challenges.
Okay.
Which was like you rock into a place. Like it's completely unrelated, but it's led from doing that. I would go into like a swimming pool before it closes, hide up.
What, in a whole complex?
Yeah, like a whole swimming complex
Yeah.
or trampoline parks, cinemas, shopping centres, everything. And that was the most that's what blew me up on YouTube differently.
Okay. And what's that, 2017 was that?
Late 2017,
2018,
beginning 2018, yeah. So I'd already built a couple 100,000 followers from the climbing stuff.
So is that, would you, on YouTube, is that like getting like a couple of 100,000 subscribers?
Yeah.
Okay. Which
I
is
think
still
that- I think-
is still a load, right?
Yeah, still quite a few. I had about
Yeah.
250k subscribers just off of parkour and rooftop and stuff.
Okay.
And then I did an overnight challenge. This is a funny one how it worked out. I did an overnight challenge in Southampton. We went into the swim baths. It was just a pure fun thing. And I videoed it. And I wasn't going to release the video because I was scared that it was so different to what I was. Yeah. I'd built a massive audience off of climbing stuff. It was so different. I didn't want to change it up and like kill the channel. That was my idea. And then security had come. It was so interesting. Security had come and we managed to blag it. It was the most ridiculous thing ever. We were like, oh, we're working with the night team, blah, blah, blah. I can't even remember what we said.
So give me an example. Just break that down for the listener there. So you're going in when they've closed.
We're going in when they're open.
And then staying
hiding,
there, hiding. Okay.
And then they close. So in that one, that specific one, we hid in the flume. Like we ran up to the flume on the last one, slid halfway down, hid in the flume. Then they leave, they clean, they leave, wait for them to leave. And then we come out and then you just got all night.
Mucking about,
flying down the slides, messing about, yeah.
And where are the cameras on your camera on your head, a GoPro on your on your chest, your head, what?
Head mount, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We'd just take a GoPro, me and my mates. But that specific one, that was the first one, and I did that purely for fun. Wasn't going to actually release the video, but I videoed it anyway. And then it ended up being so interesting and fun. I thought I'll release it, and that just blew up. That blew up in Southampton. Everyone knew the Keys swimming pool, and it was like I took a risk. You know, it was like. I could have never released that video and carried on with the climb, and the YouTube would have never been as successful as it did become.
Good for you.
So yeah, it's just...
What was the moment when you were like, go on and just whack it up, see what happens? Because you had the fear, I take it, not to sort of ruin your credibility with the parkour and what have you.
It was the fact that it was the security come, and we managed. It was the most ridiculous thing ever. We managed to blag this security guard. We said some fake name. He wrote it down on a piece of paper. He radioed through to someone, and then somehow we got off of it, and he let us stay, and he like walked off. And that was when I was like, right, this is interesting. I'm gonna just go for it, release the video. And I remember posting it on Facebook, and like I never posted on Facebook before. One of my mates was like, put it on Facebook. I put it on Facebook, and in the morning I woke up with like it had like 500,000 views. It blew up. Yeah, on YouTube it got like 1 million in space of I think about a week. Wow. So then I was like, wow, this is like a whole new thing. And then I started really like knuckling down, just smashing them out.
Is that so? That's the one that triggered you to go, you know what, I'm onto something here.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
And that was 2018.
End of 2017. That was.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the next movement for you? Thinking, hold on a minute, I need to jump on this. Did you then think, how can I really monetize this? Did you know the numbers? You're getting these sort of numbers. You think, actually, I can earn a living out of this.
Yeah. So the channel was monetized at that point.
Okay.
We're seeing the ad revenue go from. I was like broke, had no money at all. We were doing these videos, like we were traveling around the country with like no money, and then all of a sudden, I've gone from no money to like seeing thousands come in from each video. It was all just like a bit wild.
Quality. And how old were you then?
Roughly. Been 22, 21,
okay.
No, about 21, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, mate, it was quality. I was like, I'm on to something here, and I was enjoying it. I was doing something I loved. I was with my boys. I was having fun. I was making money. It was surreal, mate. And then the YouTube was blowing up as well. Like what everyone told me would never work.
Yeah.
This YouTube channel, you know, like, and even then, like 2017, 2018, it still wasn't as popular. But like when I started, especially in 2014, it was like no one really done YouTube, you know. So yeah. it all worked out.
And what were the movements then after that? You've done your first one. Did you get the appetite going, hold on, mate, I want to do a load of these now?
Yeah, that's exactly
so
what
where
happened.
was the mind? Who was coming up with the ideas?
Mate, we would come up with the ideas. A mixture. People would send ideas in. The more popular, like, it blew up pretty much overnight. Like, then I got known as that guy that would sneak into places, like, just do crazy stuff. And the overnight guy, like that just become a thing. And then I'd get sent like mad locations. People would say, come to this place, like go to there. We would just research and look up things, or that was it really. People would send it, or we'd research it.
Do you remember your second ever one?
I don't actually, funny enough. No.
What was the next big hitter for you after that first one?
The next, so it's so long ago, I can't actually remember specifically. But there was we just went hard like every day. So at that point, it was like, I could make a living off of this. I want to do this. I'm enjoying this. So I just went out and I met other people that were doing it. Like, I met some other YouTube boys that were doing it as well. Yeah. We started doing it together, me and a guy called Ryan Taylor, and we blew up together. We were doing them together regularly. But mate, it got to a point where I was just hungry for it. I was filming every day. I wasn't sleeping. I was editing all my videos at the time. So like, but it got bad. It got to a point where like I was just, that's all I thought about and done 24/7, 7 days a week.
That's fine.
There was nothing else.
To be successful, mate, you've got to be
That's
obsessed.
what
You've got to be obsessed.
You do, yeah. It's true.
Mate, and I can see it in your eyes how obsessed you were, because there was a gap in the market here for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Hold on a minute, I can earn a living out of pissing around with my mates, filming it,
Let's go
having
hard.
a laugh. Let's go for it. I'd be the same if I was your age.
That's it.
Mate, good for you. So give me some examples of some mad stuff that you've done in your earlier years before we'll move on to the latter years of what you're up to now. But those earlier years, did you have any danger moments?
None dangerous no near deaths or anything, which is people surprised about. No like broken bones or anything. I've always been pretty good. I've always done some. When you're watching it online, it looks dangerous, it looks stupid, it looks like I don't give a shit about my life. Yeah. But like, I'm always very calculated. Like, I don't want to die, I don't want to hurt myself. Like, I'm always the stuff is very calculated behind the scenes. I've been doing this stuff for many years, and like, especially the overnight stuff, there's no real danger. But the climbing stuff, I've done some stuff that could be considered dangerous, and obviously there ain't much room for error. But I've never nearly died. I've never nearly fallen. I've never broke any bones. I've always been pretty good. So no actual dangers, but there's been some pretty mental things. Like, one off the top of my head, we were in Paris climbing on the tallest building, like up this spire at the top. Next minute, whole road gets closed off by the army, the like equivalent to like the FBI. I don't know what it is over there. Like rocked up onto the roof with little MP5s, massive torches, pointing them in our faces, like that. Like, off the top of my head, like when you say crazy stories, that pipes up. There's been so many.
That one there, though, what made you want to go and do that? Did you want the attention, or was it you're thinking, if I go up there, this is the crazier it is, the more views I'm going to get?
No, not even so much. Okay. Like back then, I was still just loving doing it, making videos as well. But that video blew up because of the army thing. But that actual thing, we just went up there to like get photos. We were traveling around doing crazy stuff. I was going to try and make a video of it, but obviously it didn't really have much substance to it, so we probably wouldn't have made a video. Yeah. It was only the fact that the old bill, it turned pretty mental. But
did you get nicked?
Yeah, 24 hours in a cell. They were like talking. We had a lawyer, like a meeting with a lawyer over there that was like a translator. They were like, they're trying to ban you from the Schengen region, which is like most of Europe. Yeah. And at the time, we were like, fuck. This was like early as well. It's like 2018. They were like, I don't know how we got off of it. Like, it was serious, like proper. What
was the moment like when you were just mucking around up the top? Give me an example. How high up, for the listener, how high up were you on
Finn,
that?
you know how tall that building is?
About 250, I think.
250 metres roughly.
250 metres up?
Yeah.
With no safety net?
No safety net.
It's bigger than the Shard.
Mate.
Yeah, it's bigger than the Shard.
Probably not.
Yeah, it's pretty enough to die if you fall anyway. Yeah.
And it's all on film?
Yeah.
And who clocked you? Do you remember when someone clocked you at the time? Or did you just look down and just see a load of old Bill?
We saw, there's a video, and we heard sirens in the distance, which is common. Like, if you're up high, you usually hear sirens. But then it was getting closer and closer and closer. And our friends that didn't come up, a couple of them didn't come up because they were like, oh, this is too, like, it was like in the centre of Paris, the business district. It was busy. They were like, we don't feel good. We're not going to do it. So they stayed down. And then I remember the sirens got closer and closer. It was fire engines that we saw. And then you saw police come in. The fire engines stopped below. Then the police come, and you couldn't actually see the road. Like, you saw them go so far, and then it was blocked by the building. Yeah. But we knew they had stopped underneath. And then our friends rang us at the bottom. They're like, the army are here. They've blocked off the whole road. It's bad. It's really bad. And we were shitting ourselves. Yeah. And then it seemed like a couple of minutes later, So we locked. It was like quite hard to get onto the roof, and we had to squeeze through this little gap. We had to open this like fire hatch and then squeeze through this small little gap, basically. So the door was locked. So the police have come up. They're banging on the door, speaking in French. We had no idea what they're saying. We're like, what the fuck? We don't know what. Obviously, they weren't going to squeeze through this little small gap. And then next minute, they've got the door open. And I just remember like this massive torch shining in my face. It was like this guy had a massive torch.
Yeah.
They had a specific guy, the torch man, like just holding the torch. And then the rest of them had these little MP5s. There was like 5 of them in total. I just remember getting blinded by this light, hearing a load of French screaming and shouting, and then next minute I like can see, and I just see an MP5 pointing straight in my face. I was like, oh shit, we fucked it here. We fucked it bad.
Were you still up there, or did you climb down?
We'd climbed down at this point
Okay.
to the thing, because at the top it's like a whole structure on the top. It's like circled into this weird structure.
So it's a building that then has another spire up the top, and you were climbing to the top of that spire.
We got to the top of the spire when we saw the fire engines and that coming. That's why we couldn't
mate.
see the road below, because we were like blocked by the building.
How did you explain?
We didn't really get much. They couldn't speak English. There was not much language there. All that we done, we would like put up against a wall, face the wall. They just said face the wall. There was very little English. Yeah. And then I was speaking to my friend, and then one of the police punched me in the back. Literally, just remember getting like a dig in the back. I was like, oh, and he was like, stop speaking. And I was like, fuck. So we stopped speaking. Then we got dragged. We got like cuffs on, taken down. And I've never seen so many police. There was like riot vans, police, army. There was so much police, it was ridiculous.
Oh my God.
And then they took us into a van. Again, we're not speaking to anyone at this point. We have no idea what's going to happen, but all we knew, we were fucked. We were like, we've really fucked it this time, boys. We get dragged. We've never had anything like this. This was ridiculous. We've only had little dealings with police, like small dealings. Never. I don't even think I'd ever been arrested at that point. Get dragged into the cell. We'd done 24 hours. We got separated, and there was 6 of us, and there was 7 of us. Sorry. We got put in pairs, so 2, me and one of my mates, and then
So there was 7 up top.
7 up top,
Was
7
there?
of us, and 2 stayed down. 2 didn't want to come.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few of us, to be fair.
Okay.
Not everyone went to the top of the spire. Some people stayed on the top of the building. But then we got taken back to the cells, and we did. I've never seen this in England. They put you in a cell on your own. Over there, we got chucked in pairs, so it wasn't too bad. But we'd done 24 hours, and then we had meetings with this lawyer, and then they said we would have to go to court, but they eventually just allowed us to sign this piece of paper saying like, no climbing in Paris anymore, no fucking about. And we signed these pieces of paper, and they were all cool. But yeah, we done 24 straight hours in a cell. It's horrible.
Is that the first time you've been in a cell?
I think that was, I'm pretty sure that was the first time.
And what was going through your head?
I just thought, I fucked it differently. I remember, just thinking. But one of my mates was bad. He got chucked in, which I didn't know at the time, but he got chucked in with this other like French guy. We got put in pairs, so I wasn't too bad. I was with my mate, like just laughing and joking around in there, not knowing what's going on. One of my mates which we found out later, got chucked in a cell with a random French guy. Said he got in there, and this fat guy's in there, and he took his pillows and covers. Like there was 2 pillows, 2 covers. Fat guy's taking all his covers. He just had to lay on a concrete floor. So I was like, as long as I didn't have to do that, I actually done all right out of it.
Was there any fines?
There wasn't for that, surprisingly.
Wow.
That was. We got off lightly.
So 24 hours, you've gone, okay, you thought you were going to get nicked, you might get put away for, I don't know, whatever may happen. All of a sudden, they've released you and gone, off you go.
They released us, said, off you go. They took so we hid the SD cards. I had a bag of SD cards, and they took them thinking that the footage was on there. But before the police come, I switched SD cards with the footage because I thought if this gets taken. And then I hid that SD card in the bottom of my bag. They never got that one. So that had all the footage on it. Done all right out of it, But they just let us go. They just let us go, and it was pretty decent.
And on that one there, when you got it and gone, we've been released, do you think, like, bang it up straight away, see what happens on YouTube? Or were you nervous?
I think I waited till I got home and then banged it up.
Yeah. Where else have you been nicked before? And have you been nicked before?
Too many times.
Have you?
A lot of times through those videos.
Go on, give me an example. All in England or other countries?
Switzerland. We had the worst experience of being arrested was in Switzerland. So Finn was there as well. He's laughing because he knows the story that's coming. We're driving through Switzerland, and there's this small little crane in this like random little village, mad back view of like all these mountains. And was it you, Finn, that was like, come on, don't be a pussy? Who was it? Elliot. Elliot was like, I was like, nah, this ain't a good idea. There was workers, like, it was middle of the day. It was like 2:00 in the afternoon or something. I was like, I don't think it's a good idea. There was workers in the building site, but not on the crane. And my mate Elliot's like, don't be a pussy, come on. He's egged us on. So we go and climb it anyway, thinking, oh, what's the worst that can happen? climb it, get to the top. Next minute, there's a load of shouting. The police rock up. We get arrested, taken to a cell, and then there was like a manhunt for my car. They wanted to find my car, and I knew I had like 700 euros cash in the car. They were talking about fines and that instantly, so I was like, fuck, I don't want to let them know where the car is because they'll just take the 700 euros.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't remember where I parked and all of this. And then they went out searching for the car. Obviously, they were looking for a car with an English plate. It wasn't hard. They find the car. We done 24 hours in a cell. I actually got put in like, I didn't realise, but it was actually like proper prison. I got chucked in it wasn't like a cell. I got chucked in this prison basically. And I was in there with one guy who, I can't remember what he did. He like robbed like 50 grand or 150 grand and then like done an armed robbery for like quite a lot of money. And there was another guy that had, an Italian guy that had got caught transporting a load of coke into Switzerland.
Yeah.
So he was like doing like 10 years or something, like a long time. And I'm in there like, fucking hell. I'm in with these two like proper big criminals. I'm in actual prison right now. And at the time I was vegetarian. I'm not anymore, but at the time I was vegetarian. I remember them like, do you want some food? And then they give me food. I was like, yeah, you got any vegetarian stuff? And they were like, yeah. And then they just give me this massive slab of meat. I was like, oh, great. But yeah, so I did that. We did 24 hours. They let us go and they took everything. They took the 700 euros off me. They took about 6 grand worth of camera gear off of us.
What, did you confiscate it?
Confiscate it all and then fined us as well, like £1,000 each on top of all that confiscation. And they just took everything off us. We did 24 hours. They, again, were trying to ban us from the Schengen region again, and I thought, this is it. Like, this was after the Paris thing. We're getting banned.
Yeah.
Once you get banned from there, you're like banned from the majority of Europe. So yeah, no, got off apart from the 6 grand, but that's the worst.
How did you pay the grand fine? Did they want it up front before you left?
Nah, they just wanted it. Like they sent a letter. On. So I thought that the grand fine was paid by the camera gear all being taken, and then got a letter.
They want that on top.
Yeah, they wanted that on top.
Did you pay it?
Yeah.
What, when you got back to England?
Yeah.
Why?
One of my mates didn't pay it and went to Switzerland and then
they blocked
got
him.
arrested at the airport.
Oh, he got arrested
and had to pay it. He got the option like 15 days in jail or pay it.
Wow.
So yeah.
What was the difference? What was the time? The gap between that Paris and the Switzerland?
Probably a year.
Was it okay?
A year or two.
And what were you thinking? You going for Switzerland? You just driving through Switzerland and just having fun and seeing what you can
tripping.
do?
Yeah, we were road tripping.
With nothing planned.
Nothing planned. Road tripping around. Where do we go, Finn? We went everywhere that time. About 14 countries in about 2-3 weeks. We were just driving around Europe, took my car. We had like sleeping bags, a tent. We were just sleeping out. We were like just doing everything. We were just going around seeing what we could find, basically, making videos.
How many of you jumped in the car?
Was there like 5 of us? Five.
All kipping in the car, or staying in hotels? Or
nah, we were just like camping out. We were like literally just roughing it around Europe at this point. We were cliff jumping every day, like cliff jumping in Croatia. Just loads of shit happened, just a random road trip.
Where did it change for you? You said you had the fear of heights. All of a sudden, you're climbing up cranes. You're climbing up the top of like the biggest buildings in Paris. How did that change?
Just overcome it. Years of... So I went from being... I was terrified. My mum's terrified of heights, and she drummed it into me like growing up. So I was always terrified of heights. And then I wanted to overcome it. I was like, right, I've done... Take it back to the parkour days. I've done all this. All my mates are like jumping across roofs, but I can't even like sit on the edge.
Yeah.
There's no way I can jump because I was like, I need to overcome this. So started jumping, from what I remember, like jumping from small garage blocks that were like 10 foot off the ground or whatever, jumping across them, getting comfortable at that, then build it up. And then once you're comfortable jumping across a roof 50 meters or whatever, no, not 50 meters, like 25 meters, you know, if you fall there, you're dead. Like that to 500 meters is the same, you know?
Yeah, okay. And is there times when you're up somewhere you're going, oh my God, I've climbed up too high. I'm in trouble.
Never.
You're fine with it, the whole thing?
Completely fine with the whole thing, yeah. It's got dangerously comfortable.
Wow.
Just completely comfortable with heights now.
And is there times when you've sort of like just dangling your feet over the edge and if I slip, I'm dead?
You know that, but you're more aware. Like when you're up there, like me and all my friends, none of us have ever nearly died, never slipped, no accidents. Because when you're up there, this may sound stupid, but like when you're up there, you're so concentrated. Like when you're walking down on the street, you're just walking, so you might trip up. But when you're up there, you know you're so in the zone. You're not worried about other shit. You're not thinking about anything else. You're so concentrated. And obviously, not to say you couldn't fall. Of course, you could fall, but we never have been doing this stuff for 10 years. You know, 9 years. Yeah. Never fallen. Never had any near falls.
Give me some of the countries you went on that road trip around Europe.
Cool. I can't even remember most of Europe. There's so many of them. Netherlands, Germany, Belgium, Switzerland. I can't even remember. We worked out as 14 countries all round. We were just driving. Like it would be like the end of the day, and we'd be like look on a map and be like, right, we're going there. let's go there. There's
Quality.
this here. Like, yeah, it was just a random road trip. Me and
And
my
what are you
closest
thinking?
mates.
Are you thinking, right, okay, we'll just keep driving, let's find something, let's film it, let's whack it up and see how it does and see what money it brings in?
At the
Was
time,
it
I
about
don't-
the money
I
then?
don't, no, I think
No.
we didn't even make too many videos on that trip, innit? I think that was more just we were fucking about, me and my boys. We jumped in the car. I drove it all. None of my mates had licenses
Yeah.
or could drive, so I done all that driving. We were just driving it. That was just a random little adventure trip. We travelled all around Europe with my closest boys. We were just going on a jolly, going on
Yeah,
a little
mate.
adventure, a little random adventure. But it was
Living life to the max.
trying, mate.
Yeah,
trying.
mate, good
I'm
for
still
you.
trying to live by that.
Yeah,
I'm trying
mate.
my best.
Absolutely. It seems like you're nailing that side of things. Tell me about some of the stuff you've done in England. Tell me some stuff that's really blown up in England.
I've done a lot of football stadiums. Most of
Didn't you do West Ham Stadium?
Did West Ham Stadium, but probably another guy did it first.
Okay.
His video went viral, but we did that. That's the one. So most of the British Premier League stadiums taken me to court to get injunctions on us to stop us doing it. But West Ham's the one that never did. Like, West Ham was the only one, I think, that didn't. I got like a court injunction from Southampton Football Club, Manchester United, Man City, Arsenal, like, mate, all of them,
Mate,
basically,
this
all
is
the top
genius.
clubs. I've got court injunctions from them all.
Is that court injunctions going, we don't want Ali coming anywhere near us, or is that because you've gone there and done something and they've gone, put it on him then?
Yeah, because
so
we've done
you've
it.
gone to all
We've
these
done it
stadiums, have
first.
you?
Yeah.
Give me an
we've-
example, some stadiums.
Manchester City was the first stadium I ever did. I think that was that was 2018, beginning of 2018, I think. My time frame's all a bit messed up, so long ago now.
yeah.
But we went there with my mates. The plan was to try and get in there and get on the roof. We didn't know if we could. We got there. It was fully secure. There was 0 ways in, so we left. We couldn't do it. And then a couple of weeks later, I don't know, we went back. I was in Manchester again. This was at the point, like, I was just traveling around the country. I had mates through parkour. I had mates in loads of different places, and like had mates in Manchester. We went there, tried to get back in. I don't remember why we went back. Like, why we thought we could do it a second time, but we went back anyway. And we found we jumped over a car park, ran up, and there was just a door open. We got into the stadium, and we're running around like the seating area, trying to find a way up. And there's like ladders up to the roof, and they're all locked. There's a load of padlocks on, and we keep running around. And there was one that just didn't have a padlock on it. Go up, get onto the roof, and then we're like running around the top of the roof, basically. And then next minute, armed police have rocked up. And then ended up getting taken to court. Didn't get arrested for that, but got taken to court from Man City. They were like, we're going to get a court injunction on this guy. And then they were the first one. And then through that, the lawyer that worked with them on that, obviously, I think what's happened is he's contacted... Once with the end done Man United, he knew it. Genius business, but he's contacted all the players, I think, because he was the main lawyer that did them all.
Okay.
So I think he's contacted them and said, look, you've got a guaranteed case here, you can win, and then he's just banked out on it, which can't blame him. Very clever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we did, Man City, Man United, Arsenal, West Ham, Southampton.
Do you get into trouble in any of these? Have the security grabbed you and thrown you about at all, or have they all been quite kind and understanding?
They've all been surprisingly pretty kind. There was
Okay.
one Liverpool Anfield Stadium where we went in and the security caught us, and they were like 2 fucking massive blokes, and they were like, said my name before, like they knew who I was.
Yeah.
And they were like, come with us. And then they were talking about cameras, and they were trying to get me away from the cameras, and I thought, I'm getting a beating in.
Yeah.
I went into this room, and they were like bodybuilder, bold, skinhead looking guys. I thought, oh, this is me fucked now. I've done it here. I've pissed off these scousers, and I'm going to get my head kicked in. And one of them was trying to call someone. I still don't know who it is to this day. And then the other one looked at him and was like panicked, and so they dragged me off from my boys. They took me into another room. There was no cameras or anything. And he's calling someone, and then his mate tapped him, said, just call the police, do what's right. So I don't know who he was calling originally, but it was scary.
Yeah, I bet.
Someone to come fuck me up, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. But they ended up calling the police. The police come, and then we got arrested again for that one. There's been too many, mate. If our track record...
So again, you're getting arrested, cuffs on,
cuffs
old
on,
bill, 24 hours.
24 hours.
Fine?
Nah, because there was no... So what we all... This is how we always got off with it, because trespassing in England isn't a criminal matter. As long as you don't break in, you don't break anything, you don't steal anything, trespassing itself isn't a criminal offence. So... That's how, like, most people don't get arrested 30 times, right? Most people, if you're going to get arrested, you've usually probably done something wrong, or a couple times you'll end up in jail.
Yeah.
They couldn't do us on anything because we weren't breaking any laws, but they could arrest us on suspicion. So that's why we kept doing 24 hours. I've been arrested way too many times. And I hope it never happens again because it's the worst experience ever, like being chucked in a cell. Have you ever been arrested? I don't know.
No, I haven't.
That's good. Keep
no, I
it.
haven't.
Keep it
yeah.
that way.
To everyone listening out there, no, I haven't.
He's a good boy.
I'll repeat that.
He has not been arrested. It's the worst. And I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. It's the worst. It's soul destroying.
How many times do you reckon you've been arrested?
50 plus times.
You're joking me.
Yeah, it was a lot. There's
50 plus times
in the UK alone. Yeah, too many,
mate.
Way too many. It's probably done some permanent damage to my brain,
mate. And then so you've done the football thing.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about doing anything like, you know, that fella from Manchester? He would like run onto the pitch dressed in a Man United kit and have the photo with the team before like the Champions League final, or he'd come out to bat dressed in England cricket gear. And
recently?
No, this is like 10 years ago.
Oh.
He'd come out the cricket bat and pretend to be like the England opening batsman and stuff. And you remind me of kind of that sort of style.
I don't know who that is.
When after this, I'll send you a WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Take a look because I think that could be hilarious for you.
Mate,
straight on telly.
I'm trying to stay out of trouble. He's here trying to tempt me to get back into it.
Mate, I'll be taking bets. Mate, there's 500 quid. Go and do that. And get...
Yeah. Little sponsorship.
Yeah,
Bournemouth Sevens on the
7.
back. Yeah. Genius.
Eventful Lives podcast all across
we can sort this out. We can come
could be a deal here, mate.
For sure.
What other stuff have you done over the years? We're talking like you've nailed the football. You've done the football stadium thing. Give me some other examples.
So the YouTube stuff was all climbing stuff. So a lot of building stealth things that you would know. O2 Arena, like we were doing flips on the top of that.
Well, you climbed the O2 Arena.
Climbed the O2 Arena, and then we were doing flips like the material of it's like a tent, but like quite strong. And then we were doing
stretch tent, isn't it?
Doing backflips and stuff on that, and we climbed up the big yellow pylon things on top of it. So.
How do you give me an example? Have you got to go in when there's a concert or there's a fight going on, or are you just sneaking in when no one's about?
Usually when no one's usually before they close is quite a good time. Workers are like cracking away, brushing to get home, and we'd usually just walk in. But it was not anymore. Like when it started getting popular, it started getting harder and harder to do it.
Yeah.
People like at the time, people were sending me emails and like DMs and stuff of like their work, and I remember my face being at like the docks in Southampton. They had like almost like a wanted poster, but mate, it got everywhere. Like B&Q had this thing. Well, I'll send you it later. You can chuck it on. It was like. Level 3 offenders. It was me and Ryan, and it was like this big poster of like, look out for these boys. They're looking to stay in, because we did one in B&Q back in the day.
What did you do?
We just stayed in. We went to stay in there overnight. Like it just got to a point we'd done everything. Like all the swimming pools were hard. We were like, what else can we do? We were going to stay in B&Q. Fuck knows what we were going to do, but we tried to, and that went wrong as well. A lot of them went wrong. But
was there any time when someone is an owner and gone, I've clocked who you are and just had enough and dragged you around?
No, surprisingly
really?
not.
Okay.
The only one I've ever, which I'm still surprised about, I'm surprised at the time, didn't get my head kicked in at all. Never had any problems. The one we did, we snuck into the Big Brother house twice when it was...
In London?
In London, yeah. What they called the studios, I can't remember what they're called now.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Wherever they're called, yeah. So we jumped in there. We were trying to get, this was like YouTube was popping. We were like, right, if we sneak in, we'll get on the live eviction night and we'll walk in as they're getting evicted. That was the plan. We were like, that would blow up the internet.
Quality.
And we rocked up there again, unplanned, like a lot of stuff. We'd just rock up. We rocked up at night. We had no idea. We parked in this little car park. We see the lights coming. We're like, that must be it. We walk to it. We get there. It's highly secured, security everywhere. We're like, fuck, we don't know what we're gonna do. We end up going around the back. There was a gate with no security. We hopped over. There happened to be a high-vis security jacket just there, placed there perfectly. I only one, so I picked that up. My mate, I put it on. Ryan was just normal clothes. Then once we had that on, we looked the part.
Yeah.
So we walked through. We strolled straight in there that time, and we had to hop over a few gates unnoticed and that. But we pretty much strolled in there, and we're behind. The idea was to get in there. We had no idea what it was like, but we got behind. You know, they film behind the mirrors.
Yeah.
Like the see-through mirrors. We got behind. We were sat there chilling with the cameraman. Like we're behind the studio. It's like a full studio, it looked like a construction site, and we're like in there for probably an hour and a half, 2 hours, and we're just strolling around talking to people. We got high vis. We looked the part. We got the confidence. Like that's what it was all about.
Yeah.
High vis and
front,
confidence. Yeah, it's the front. If you go in there and look like you belong there. But anyway, we're walking around. And then next minute, a lady comes up to us after like an hour and a half, and we're waiting. The idea is to wait for the eviction, which that's what we were waiting for, because we didn't want to we had to do it while it was live on TV. And as well, we couldn't find a way into it. Like we were scouting it out, but it was like fully secured that the guests can't get out. So it was a weird setup. We couldn't figure a way out in. Anyway, we're walking around and this lady comes up to us, security us, and she's like, "Have you got your badges, boys?" And we're like, "Oh, we've left them upstairs. Give us 2 seconds." That raised suspicion with her. We got away from her, like we walked off, and she's like, "Oh, wait," and we carried on walking. And then we got away, and then we were trying to like hide up in there. And then the boss man, who later found out his name was Mick, he was like the head security boy of like the whole Big Brother studio. He come like this big like London gangster looking guy, suited and booted, grabbed us both. There's a video online. He's like grabbed us both by the scruff of the necks. Like there's a thumbnail on one of Ryan's videos. He's got us both like that. It looks ridiculous. And then they dragged us down. It wasn't rough with us at all. They were like pretty sound, to be honest. But the police come and the security were like, "Take their GoPros off them." The police were like, "We can't. We've got no rights to take their GoPro off of them. They've done nothing wrong. They've not committed any crimes. They wanted us arrested. They let us go anyway."
Quality.
And us being idiots thought, right, we're going back.
Get back in.
Let's get back in there. We should have just left it there, but we ended up going back the second week. We're getting on live TV. Hopped over a gate. They were in my head. Ryan was like, "They'll be expecting us." I was like, they won't be expecting us. No way, because we've been caught. They won't be expecting us. We rock up. There was more security than ever. Straight away, we hop over the gate. They're like, "Ali, Ryan, stop." They knew us. We were like, fuck. So we're just running around. We're sprinting around the studio. It was ridiculous. There's a load of security chasing us. We jump on the side of a scaffolding, which is like around the full studio bit. We climb up the scaffolding. They're trying to. I remember at one point, like security was running at me. It was like from a movie, and he's like tried to grab me like that, and he missed my leg. And then we're like scaling up the side of this scaffolding. Got like probably like 5 stories, so obviously they couldn't chase us. We got onto the roof, ran down, found the garden of the Big Brother house. Obviously we had no idea where we was. Navigation. We ran like across the roof. There's a picture in the sun. If you type in like Ali Law Big Brother, you'll see this picture of me and Ryan on the top of a roof. And it was like in the middle, you know where Davina McCall was like doing eviction. We just see all the crowd, her in the middle, like speaking on the live the live show. And everyone's just looked up at us. Like everyone's heads just turned looking up at us. And then we ran across. We had to like jump over a few things, and we got in the garden. We had to take this fat drop into the garden, like I don't know, we hung drop off it. Obviously from doing parkour for years, it was all right for me. But once we were in, there was no way getting back out. Like it was a big drop. We got in, and I remember running up to the door. You could see all the people in there. I grabbed the door to open it, and they'd locked it. No. And then they put these like a little alarm went off, and then the shutters come down. So they knew what we were doing. They blocked it. And then from that moment, we're looking around. Ryan's trying to climb out. Obviously, it's a massive wall. You just can't get up it. I'm like, fuck it. I've got my GoPro on. I jump in the hot. I don't know why. Just jumped in the hot tub. I stripped down to my cacks. Jumped in the hot tub. I'm chilling in the middle of the hot tub, and then honestly, it's the most ridiculous thing ever. Looking back on it, all the security run, and they're trying to. Obviously, they've put it into lockdown, so everything's locked. And I remember just seeing all these security members running into this room. I'm in the middle of the hot tub chilling, and then they're all trying to open the door, but they've locked it themselves, so they can't get out this door. And then next minute, like Ryan's like halfway up this wall, nearly out. Next minute, the door opens. There was probably like 10 to 15 security guards just come flying out this door. I'm like, oh, fuck. They start chasing Ryan. Ryan falls down from the wall. He's running around like a madman. I'm chilling in the hot tub. They're chasing him round. Like if it was on TV, it would have been the most ridiculous thing ever. And then I got dragged out of the hot tub, and then the security like banged his knee into the back of my neck, and he was like, "I fucking know where you live, Ali." He was like, "Don't think we won't be paying you a visit." And I remember him just like kneeling me in the back of the head. Like that's the roughest it's been. But
you've got off quite lightly, to be fair.
Very lightly,
isn't it?
Very lightly.
Is that because it's a grey area, or do they know that you're just there to muck about?
They know. I don't know. I think they know we're there to muck about, but still, ultimately, like we're pissing people off, innit? But we weren't doing anything. There was no legal.
You're not malicious with it.
No, we're not malicious.
You're fun.
And we showed a lot of. Which was my argument in court, which didn't go down very well. But my argument in one of them was like, we've shown a breach of security to these security companies that are costing millions. We've showed them a breach in the security. We've got no malicious intent. Like we didn't break anything. We weren't there to kill anyone, hurt anyone. So like we just showed a flaw in the security. That was my excuse in court.
I think it's a great excuse.
I think so,
isn't it? You're helping security firms actually tighten up.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's good. I need to start a little business, innit? A little business, security testing.
100%. What's the next movement for you after all this? You've been nicked 50 times. Are you still like, I don't care?
No, I do care now.
You do care?
I didn't at the time. At the time,
So what age were you then on the Big Brother one?
22,
23.
Yeah,
okay.
Around that, yeah. And again, at the time, didn't care because I went from So in my head, I went from working on a construction site,
Yeah.
absolutely hating life, to being able to do what I love, and the arrest was just a side part of it. I know it don't look great, but I knew I wasn't a bad person. I'm not a bad person. I would never hurt anyone. I'd never steal off anyone. I've got good morals. That was just a part of it. Like, I was having fun. That was my excuse. Obviously, I pissed off a lot of people probably and caused a lot of people a headache. But at the time, we were just having fun.
Yeah.
I was making videos. I was doing what I love. I was making money from it. And I was just getting to wake up and do what I love every day. But the arrest thing isn't good. Like that, it just fucks your head up, being stuck in a cell, and it's no good. It's no life, and obviously it's not sustainable as well.
Yeah.
Can't continue that. But yeah, ultimately, like, the arrest never bothered me back then, because it was just like it pissed me off, obviously, but I knew I wasn't like going to go to prison. I knew I wasn't doing anything bad. It was just like a little side part of it.
Yeah.
I've grown up a bit since then. Like, I couldn't do that now. Like, it would kill me. If I got chucked in a cell for 24 hours now, it would absolutely kill me. But yeah, now I'm just trying to have fun. I want to use my social media. So I built it off of that, which...
That's what I was going to go to then. So you're talking Big Brother. It blew up for you in 2018.
Yeah.
What sort of numbers are we talking from 2018 to where we are today in 2023? Give me that sort of journey of YouTube, Instagram, TikTok.
Everything just blew up. End of 2017 to beginning of 2018, it just fucking rocketed. Like, I remember at one point, I think I went from 300,000 YouTube subscribers to I was like the fastest growing, at one point on Social Blade, I was the fastest growing YouTube channel in the world. Like, it was rocketing. I remember going from 300k to 1 million in like the space of a month.
Of subscribers,
not
just views.
Not views.
Wow.
Subscribers. Each video was guaranteeing like 3 million views. I was getting 30 million views a month. All the socials were blowing up. Yeah, just the numbers were crazy. And that level of dopamine, as you know, like you're doing podcasts, when you get a little million or something, like it's a drug.
More.
Yeah, it's a drug.
It?
It's massive dopamine. Yeah.
So what numbers you set on today with YouTube?
Not so much. So I've actually given up the main channel, which is a bit of a weird one, because I'm trying to move away from... I've set such a standard on that main channel from doing like the most crazy, the most daring, the most reckless, run away from police overnight challenges. So, sorry, a bit of context. After the Big Brother thing, I got a court order. So obviously we're pushing it harder and harder. That went on for like a year through the courts. And then beginning of 2019, I got a court order to say I couldn't trespass. Trespassing is obviously a civil matter. So if you go and trespass, you're fine.
Yeah.
But because I've got a court order, it then becomes contempt of court.
Yeah.
So I would go to prison for breaking the court order, which one of my friends recently climbed up the Shard, in London.
Yeah.
And that was the same thing. The Shard had an injunction on it. So he went to prison not for trespassing or climbing it, but for breaching the court order.
How long did you get?
Not long, like 3 months, I think.
Okay, it's long enough.
Long enough, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go to prison.
No.
I can't be asked for that.
No.
But yeah, so I got a court order in 2019, beginning of 2019.
And was that the bit that you were like, I need to slow this down, I was going to get myself into proper trouble?
At the time, no. At the time, I was sort of arrogant enough to go, no, fuck, this ain't going to stop me. I'm going travelling. I'm going to go do this in other countries. And then that led to like Switzerland happening and other shit. And then eventually it wasn't even that I thought I can't keep getting in trouble. I just grew out of it.
Yeah,
I stopped
okay.
enjoying it. And I think it was like down to when you rinse it for YouTube as well. Like I loved it for many years. I did love it and I loved making YouTube videos, but it got to a point where I didn't enjoy it anymore. Yeah. And I was creating the videos, but I wasn't enjoying it. And I was like, right, so I'm going to move away from this. And so that's why I've given up the main channel, which is like, it's got 3.5 million subscribers.
3.5 million subscribers.
Yeah, it's a lot of...
That's huge.
It's a big channel,
Well, how many views has that got roughly, can you say?
400, 500 mil, I'd say. I don't know, I haven't looked in a long time, but I'd say...
And how did you monetize that? What sort of money were you bringing in?
So that was fully monetized for about taking it back to beginning of 2018, it got demonetized. It got hit with a demonetization. So just as it started earning money, I remember going from like no money to seeing like a $7,000 month, let's say. Yeah. So I'm talking broke to 0
Gs.
Money to 7 Gs.
Wow.
I was like, fuck, this is insane.
Yeah.
And that I was living cheap. I didn't have a lot of outgoings. Like I was just traveling around. Like, yeah, there wasn't a lot of outgoings. It wasn't like a mad business that there was mad outgoings. So $7,000, then $7,000 the next month went to about 15. And then it got demonetized. I remember 14, I think it was. From what I remember, there was like 2 big months. It got demonetized January 2018, and I was like, "Fuck, I've lost all the money." And then I managed to get the monetization back after a couple of months, probably like March or April. I managed to get it back. I had signed with a network, and they got me it back through YouTube. managed to get it back, and then it started picking up. And at this point, I'd already lost a fuckload of money because the channel was getting bigger.
Yeah.
And I was seeing, mate, I went to a point, I remember the biggest month on YouTube was 50k pounds.
50,000
English pounds. And bear in mind, 6 months before I had £0 in my back. I was skint,
Mate,
bro.
that's amazing.
And like, I grew up in a family from a council. I was like, my mum's never fucking seen five
Yeah.
grand, let alone 50 grand, you know?
Mate, that's quality.
Insane. But then overnight, as it come quick, it fucking went. It got demonetized again. So I was only fully monetized for about 6 months, and then it got demonetized. Fully lost it. Couldn't ever get it back. Got like YouTube demonetized it around September 2018.
Okay.
It's never been monetized since. But obviously, I sold merch. I got a merch site which
Called?
just Ali Law merch, like
Yeah.
alilaw.co.uk. That's just my merch. So I was selling merch. That was my main income. Was the main.
But you ain't going to be earning that sort of money doing merch compared to 50 bags a month.
It still does alright. It's
Yeah,
the merch
okay.
does not too bad.
Why?
But
Just give me to break down there. Obviously, you know YouTube better than anyone, I
Yep.
imagine. Well, I do know that. Why would they demonetize you?
So at the time, there was no like reason. So at the time, I had a YouTube network. They were like, they've got to contact that YouTube. YouTube were like, we can't give you a reason. It's just against the ad guidelines or whatever. They were changing it up. I think they were trying to protect. Obviously, it was a grey area. They were advertising on my channel. I was running away from the police. I was hiding. Although it wasn't illegal, it didn't look great, you know. So I think I don't know. I think YouTube were just trying to protect
The younger generation watching it.
Oh no, I think at the time it was like, I don't know if you remember, it was called Adpocalypse. I think this was like 2016. Basically, someone, I think PewDiePie said something. I can't remember if it was like homophobic or something like that, and then YouTube. They pulled ads from it. Like a lot of advertisers pulled out of YouTube, basically. And I think they were just trying to prevent that. Yeah, protect it. So I understand it. Like they weren't trying to add it. It was a bit of a grey area. I was running away from the police, hiding up in places, climbing places, and they were advertising on the videos, you know.
Yeah, I see.
So.
And what was that next step for you then? If you're thinking, hold on, I've been demonetized. Where am I going to earn my money from?
So I was pretty smart with it. Once that happened, I created a website, a paid subscription website. I was like, fuck YouTube, they've demonetized me, I'm moving away from YouTube. Create a paid subscription website. I think I was charging like £3 or £4 a month at the beginning, and then just started funneling traffic from the YouTube over to the website. Was doing one video a week over on there. That's when I started traveling. That's when I started not enjoying it after a few months of that, because then you're not creating the videos for. It was good business, but I just started hating it. And I was having to travel, and I was having to force the content, and then it wasn't natural anymore, you know?
Give me an example of the sort of money it dropped from. Getting up for 7 grand, 14 grand, up to 50 grand, demonetized.
Oh, mate.
Then what did it, when you did it yourself, what sort of numbers?
It went from 50k. I remember my biggest month was 50, I think it was like 51k. And then it dropped to the next month to $300.
Oh, mate.
Because it's not fully demonetized. It's that yellow thing we were talking about.
Yeah.
So it's like,
what do we call that yellow thing?
Piss yellow.
Piss yellow or something, wasn't it? When you see that, you're like, no,
you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
My whole channel overnight got piss yellowed. Yeah, but it happens, man. Like, these things happen. You can't dwell on it, innit?
Are you still enjoying though, seeing that? Do you still get a buzz going? I've actually got 3.5 million subscribers who really like what I'm doing. Are you still putting stuff up there constantly?
No, that channel's... So basically, that's what I said. I'm moving away from that channel. I didn't want to start uploading other shit to it because it would be like a channel with 3.5 million subscribers getting 10k views, you know?
Yeah, okay.
So I had another channel at the time, which was called Ali Law's Life, which was a second channel.
On YouTube?
On YouTube, but I built that up in like 2018. Just
so that one was called, the new one was called?
Ali Law's Life.
And the other one was called?
Just Ali Law.
Ali Law, okay.
Yeah. So I just created this second channel. The idea was to try and like move it into travel content and like build off the side of the main one back in the day. Anyway, it was a sort of a side thing. I built it up to a couple 100,000 subscribers, but then moved away from it. Just didn't upload for like at least 2 years.
Why?
Just because I was concentrating on the main channel, the website. Like I didn't have time to do it. And yeah, it was just one of them things. I just left it. But then I ended up, that's my plan now, is I'm trying to really go hard with content on there.
On your second channel?
On my second channel. Completely, it's fully monetized.
And what sort of stuff are you putting on there that's different to the original one?
Just like travel videos, skydiving videos, traveling around the world, doing adventurous stuff, going cave diving, scuba diving, just like legal stuff that's not going to get me nicked, that can earn money, you know, and that I enjoy. I'm loving making videos again. Like I got to a point hating video, like I just didn't enjoy it anymore. Like which was sad because I built this thing. It's what made me. It was my dream forever, but I just got to a point. I guess you rinse something. It's good in life. you can't. Well, sometimes you can, but sometimes you change shit up. You know, like
Yeah.
you get bored of something, you can't continue it. So I was like, it was a big decision to make. Like I could continue making them videos. I could have kept my paid subscription website. I've still monetized the fuck out of it with that main channel and
Yeah.
got millions of views. But I just didn't enjoy it anymore. And the whole side of it, like getting nicked and
Yeah.
constantly going to court and that, it's not sustainable long
Yeah.
term. You know, so.
Yeah.
And it's not a good image as well. It's not like, it's just not a good image. Like
Has
for
anyone picked
brands.
up on you? Anyone picked you up? Gone, hold on a minute, we can make a TV channel out of this.
So a few, I was in talks with Channel 4 a couple of months ago, and then it got dropped last minute. But that's one of my New Year's resolution. Is it not New Year's resolution? Bucket list this
Bucket
year.
list.
Is
I
to
think
get
you're
some
made for TV.
stuff. Yeah, I
One,
think so.
you're a proper character. Two, I can see in your eyes that you're hungry to do anything.
Yeah.
That's a bit of fun. And if you get paid by a TV channel to do that, legitimately, I think that's
That's
a
what I want.
no-brainer.
That's the dream. Hopefully, move over. Before a few years ago, I was like, fuck, because YouTube effectively is new TV. YouTube is bigger. Your YouTube stars like KSI and stuff are getting recognised, and they're more famous than your TV stars nowadays. But I think TV is like a whole new audience, and I'd love like a little TV show, traveling around the world doing the craziest stuff. That's the idea, like base jumping, skydiving, scuba diving with sharks, shit like that. You know, like
Would you do anything? Is there anything you wouldn't do? Give me an example of something you wouldn't do.
They're actually, I don't, off the top of my head, I don't think there's anything, like, I don't know, there's nothing I'm
Do you know
terrified
that?
of.
What's that program on telly? Who's the comedian who sends his mate around the world? Carl Pilkington.
Idiot Abroad.
Idiot Abroad. What if someone set something like that and go, right, we're going to send you around the world to do all this mad shit, and are you up for it, and you're going to get paid to do it?
I'll do it, 100%, yeah, 100%.
Why don't we put our heads together?
Yeah, let's do it. There's something that,
There's
it's
something
funny. It's funny
there.
you say Idiot Abroad, because my mate Lee is like, we travel, we make videos together, and he's very like Carl Pilkington in the sense he's just very funny, stuff like that. And we talked about this, didn't it? We talked about this in Austria last year. It's like, I want a TV show like that, like me and maybe two friends travel around Idiot Abroad style, but we like go and do like the craziest stuff. And Lee's like a bit scared of things, so like it'd be funny, like him bungee jumping, skydiving, things like that. You know?
I think it'd be amazing.
I think it could
You
do well,
can't
yeah.
have that amount of followers, subscribers, and all the people who love you around the world and not take this to the next level.
Yeah.
How
Let's
old are you
do it.
today?
26.
26 prime.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's chat after this.
100%.
100%. Tell me about your other figures and your numbers and stuff on socials.
So I had a TikTok account, which
Yeah.
obviously TikTok's the new sort of socials. I wasn't running it at all because whenever I downloaded it, do you use TikTok?
A team used
Do
TikTok
you-
for
do
me.
you yourself never
not
scroll?
No,
That's
not
good.
I don't want to scroll. I'm
That's
not
good.
scrolling.
That's
yeah.
good. Just-
Well, they whack up they cut up all the podcast stuff.
Yeah, I
da-da-da,
see.
all
It's
the
genius. It's
Yeah.
the most incredible business tool
Yeah.
and socials tool right now.
It's crazy. I think we've had in the last like 4 or 5 months, we had like 30, 40,
I
50
saw-
million
yeah,
views
yeah.
or something wild.
50 mil on it.
Crazy.
I thought that's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane for podcasts, especially. Podcasts are
Yeah.
blowing up. Obviously, people's attention span have been battered. They're not watching long form, but if you hook them in from the short
Yeah.
form stuff, they're gonna come over to the long form. But so I had a TikTok. I didn't use it at all because I would just get sucked into the scroll.
Yeah.
Do you get sucked into the scroll? Yeah, of course.
Oh, who's that?
It's impossible
Yeah.
not to.
Yeah.
But I had an account. I had a guy running it, an editor. He was just trimming up old videos. Obviously,
Yeah.
I've got so much viral content on YouTube. He was trimming up videos, absolutely smashing the account. Got it up to 1.3 million followers, and then it got banned like 3 weeks ago.
Oh.
But someone's reported it for like self-harm and eating disorder, some like bollocks category. They've got it banned somehow. They've just mass reported it, got it banned. But my network are chatting to TikTok now, and hopefully we'll get it back.
When you say your network, what do you mean your
They're
network?
like my YouTube network. They're like my management. They're the ones that got my channel monetized, but they've basically got contacts at all socials.
Okay.
They help me out a lot. Yeah. So
So if you get that back up and running, amazing. What about your Instagram?
Insta's got, I don't actually know, 330 maybe, around
Genius.
that, 330k. Yeah. And then just on all social. Facebook does pretty well. Facebook's got 300k recently.
Is it? What,
That's
300k followers?
300k, yeah. Likes
And
on the
are you
page.
banging up the short clips up there as well?
Facebook's more so. Facebook, I don't know if you know this, but Facebook's monetized. A lot of people don't know this.
didn't know
but
that.
Yeah, most people don't know this, but there's good money to be earned on Facebook.
Because
We've
it's
had-
weird, isn't it? Instagram has dropped right off
Yep.
for views and everything else. TikTok's flying, and all of a
Yep.
sudden, Facebook Reels seems to be flying at the moment.
Yeah. Facebook's.
We
sort of
banged
like,
something up the other day, and it got 11.2 million something on my personal one.
Wow.
And another one got 3 point something. I'm like, my God, where's that
that'd
come
do
from?
wonders for the podcast. That would.
Yeah,
do
it does,
wonders,
yeah, absolutely. And that's why
incredible.
the podcast has blown up.
That's big
You know?
numbers on
Yeah.
Facebook for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, Facebook. incredible platform right now. It sort of died out a few years ago. It
It died out, didn't it?
Yeah, but I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what they've done.
And what about Twitter? You on Twitter?
I'm on Twitter. Yeah.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I actually really. Surprisingly, most people think Twitter's a dead platform, but if I learn a lot about business on Twitter.
Okay.
From just following a lot of business accounts.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Yeah, Twitter's my favourite platform,
Is
but not
it?
in terms of like bringing me views and money.
Yeah.
It doesn't really bring me fuck all. But like,
You like looking at seeing what's happening?
I learn a lot on it.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot just about like, I don't know, random shit like creating an email list. If I knew about that in 2018,
Yeah.
I could have had an email list of fucking 500,000
Yeah.
people on it.
Yeah.
I didn't know about it. Just like little random little facts like that.
So you're 26 today, in
Yeah.
your prime, and you've sort of slowed off a bit in the last 2-3 years. Slowed off in terms of you don't want to get nicked again, you don't want to get caught up again. What have you been doing these last couple of years then? What have you really been focusing on?
Traveling a lot. I've been, mate, since November last year. When did we go Austria? November. Since November, I've been home in Southampton 5 days.
Yeah.
Since November. So just traveling, making fuckloads of videos for the second channel, trying to just create content, trying to have fun, trying to enjoy life. Like I'm just traveling. I was up in Scotland yesterday. I was in Dubai last week, like scuba diving. I'm trying to just live a good life, man. Like just trying to have fun, and at the same time, like I'm in a good position to be able to do what. Like I dreamt of this for many years. Like I can go and travel the world and make videos and
Have fun.
Have fun.
Have you got
Like,
enough money in the bank to keep on travelling?
I've been pretty good with my money in
Yeah.
the sense that like I not really flashy. I ain't got a flashy car. Like over the years of all the money I did earn, I was quite smart with
Good for
saving
you.
it. I say smart with saving it. Obviously, just lost fuckloads of money to inflation. But yeah, I didn't really know about investing. But I'm trying to get into investing. I'm trying to. Yeah, the idea is to just try and start some businesses up off the back of it. I've just started a jewellery brand recently.
Called?
Which is doing. It's called Pivi. Pivi.
Okay. Where can people find that?
The Pivi.uk.
Yeah.
Mate, we'll give a little discount code if anyone wants anything.
Yeah, mate.
Dodge, use the code Dodge
Yeah.
for 25% off.
Yeah, perfect.
Boom.
Perfect.
But yeah, just mate, just trying to have fun, trying to do things I enjoy.
It seems like you're having a proper laugh, Ali. And you know what? After spending an hour of you here, you got your head switched on. I know you're
Thanks,
getting
man.
nicked and da-da-da. That's part of growing up. That's part of your 20s. There's not many people who have lived the life you've lived and they might be 60, 70 years old. Do you know what I mean? I'll keep doing what you're doing. And I reckon there's someone going out there who's going to snap you up and make an amazing TV channel.
Thank you, man.
I really,
Thank
really
you.
do. Any advice out there before we finish up on the younger lot, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 17, they look up to you and be like, wow, look, he was a YouTube sensation. We can earn millions from this. There's a mass misconception out there. People can earn a lot of money out of YouTube and stuff. People who are there Instagramming and TikToking and YouTubing trying to get somewhere, is there any advice that it's really to them that it's fairly difficult to earn money doing that?
It is. So my advice, if you want to go down the route of social media, it is difficult. And like most people, obviously, the reason not everyone's doing it is because it ain't easy. Yeah. It took me many years of like editing. It's hard work. Like I give up carpentry, hated that. I was working 8 hours a day. I work 24/7, 7 days a week,
Same.
as you do. Yeah,
mate.
of course. There's no break, right?
Yeah.
You never switched off.
Especially if you love it.
Yeah, you love it. You're working 24/7. There's no days off, but you don't want a day off, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't want a day off from what I do because I genuinely enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
And everyone I know that's successful doing their own business is in that exact same boat.
Yeah.
It's 24/7. So if you're trying to get into YouTube and you think it's going to be an easy ride and you're just going to make millions and have a Lamborghini, then it's not going to work. But there is serious money to be made, and I believe anyone can do it. I come from a council house. Like I had no money. My mum didn't give me money. I worked a construction job. I was earning £100 a week for my apprenticeship. I saved up every penny to buy the GoPro. I used to ride my push bike 9 miles to work to save a £5 a day on bus fare. Like, I didn't get handed anything, but it was possible for me, and I come from nothing.
Yeah.
There's people from all over the world making something on social media from every niche. There's you doing podcasting business. There's me climbing buildings. Like there's no limit on it. I think anyone can be successful on YouTube, and I think anyone can do it. But yeah, it isn't easy. But don't let that put you off. Like if you work hard, as with anything, you can have it for sure.
Tell me, do you get recognised in a lot of places?
All over, mate.
Give me an example. If you go somewhere, if you walk into Nando's, or you walk down the street, or you go are people clocking you going, my God, that's Ali? Photos, autographs, tell me.
The motorway one the other day, driving down the motorway, guys next to us like, "Rah!" Down, mate, it's all over. Even in Dubai, like in Dubai last week, getting recognised loads. Like it's still crazy to me. That still feels crazy to me. But years ago, I remember the first time, like this was 2017, it must have been. I remember the first time it ever happened. It was surreal for me. Obviously, I had like odd bits around Southampton, but I remember going to LA. I paid for a skydiving course out in Paris, which is like 2-hour drive from LA, middle of the desert. I stopped off at this Walmart, and this was as the YouTube was like really blowing.
Yeah.
Stopped off in this Walmart in the middle of the desert in America, in California, and I got recognised twice in that shop by 2 separate people.
Yeah.
I was like, "Fuck, this is crazy."
Yeah.
But yeah, mate, yeah, it's a lot.
Do you enjoy the buzz
Of
people recognising you?
It's cool. Yeah,
Photos?
it's a weird thing. Like I love me, mate. These people allow me to live this life. I'll never be one of them people that are like, no photos or whatever. It's a weird, unnatural feeling, obviously, like when you're out and people look at you, it almost like creates a paranoia. You don't know if
They've clocked you or not.
Yeah, they don't know if you've clocked you, they're just looking at you or whatever. It creates this like weird thing in your head, like, I don't know how to explain it, like a paranoia almost. But it's cool, mate. I've met some amazing people, have some amazing conversations with people from all different walks of life. It's pretty cool, man. Like, yeah.
Mate, this is some
solid.
story, mate. I've really enjoyed this episode.
I'm
Ali,
glad.
where can people find you?
It's just Instagram. I'm really active on Instagram at the moment. YouTube, if you want to watch any of the vlogs, Ali Law's life, Mr. Ali Law on Instagram. Hopefully by the time this episode's out, we got the TikTok back. So the Ali Law. Just all platforms, every platform. Mate, just type in Ali Law.
Ali, you're a proper character, mate, and I think you've got a huge career ahead of you, and someone needs to snap you up. Someone needs to get you on telly, because they don't make people like you these days who's got a character switched on, ballsy, fun, happy, and you're not there to piss anyone off or annoy them. You're just there to create some wicked content. And
means a lot, man.
Yeah, mate. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, man. Thank you. You too.
You're a gentleman, Ali.
I'll see you in May, mate.
Yeah, mate. Thoroughly enjoyed this.
Thank you for having me, man.
Good man.
Thank you.
Good man. Take care.